My name is Ahmed Issack Hassan. I'm the chair of IPOA, but I'm also here as a member of ICJ. And I want to thank ICJ for the work we're doing and for inviting us for this very important forum. I was looking at the tagline here, a Kenya where every life is valued, every voice is heard, and human rights are held without compromise. I think this is something which all institutions which are here, from the DPP, from IPOA, from the National Police Service, this should also be our motto, okay, across the board, because that is what we are working for as Kenyan institutions. Now, I was asked by the speakers previously about this police officer called Rashid, who was charged with the killing of some young people in Pangani. But he also talked about more killings that happened in Malare and other places. I want to ask the families if they could please also report to IPOA to follow up on those cases. I think we can work together. But I know that already that case is going on. I don't know whether it has been put on his defense or not. I have not followed the case. Maybe when I go back, I will ask for a brief. But I know he has been charged, and the case is going on. I think there's a witness going on. But we are with the families. We are with you as families, as victims of enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings. I think we need to hold the government accountable. We need to hold our security forces accountable, and we need to demand for justice for the victims and the families. I have been asked also to just comment very briefly on the Gen Z protests and what we have been done as IPOA in terms of the investigations. And it is true, out of the 60 deaths which have been reported to IPOA across the country, some of the deaths were not reported to IPOA directly by victims or their families, but IPOA on their own motion, either because it's a matter which has been brought out by the public media or because of other information which IPOA received, opened these 60 files. And out of the 60 files, apart from the two which are in court, and they are not even murder cases, IPOA had recommended those not to be charged with murder and manslaughter. But the DPP has instead changed and said we shall go for a public inquest before you charge the officers for murder. Of course, IPOA has no authority over prosecution or the decision to charge. But the only thing IPOA is able to do is to recommend, after completing investigations, collecting evidence from all the victims and thereafter recommend a file to the DPP. It's up to the DPP then to either accept the recommendation of IPOA or change. And in some cases, we have seen that some of the files have been returned back to IPOA with further instructions to either look at the different evidence or to close the file or to bring a different angle of the investigation. So out of the 60 deaths, actually as we are speaking now, 22 files have been completed. 22 have been completed, and there's actually a files with DPP for murder, for manslaughter against police officers. And so it's up to the DPP now to fast track reading those files and making a decision on those 20 files, which are actually now, sorry, 22 files, which are with the DPP. Now, IPOA has also faced a number of challenges when conducting investigations. Of course, the first one is non-cooperation by the police. A lot of the cases that we are handling require IPOA to go to the police stations, to go to the scene of crime or scene of incidents, collect the ballistics, talk to the witnesses and the police officers, ask for the OB entrance, ask for the firearms register, ask for the operations order. So all this requires cooperation from the police command. And in a number of cases, we have seen a lack of cooperation or sometimes outright refusal to cooperate with IPOA, or sometimes to delay or drag on the investigations. We also have got limited forensic evidence. We don't have enough experts to look at forensic evidence. And more importantly, there is also a problem with some of the witnesses don't come forward to give evidence or to record their statement. Perhaps because they are scared about repercussions. Maybe they are scared about what's going to happen to their families. But again, we're working with the Witness Protection Agency to ensure that anyone who has come to give statement is protected. And again, the geographical spread of the cases. These cases were across the whole country. I was watching the BBC documentary, it's a 37-minute documentary, and it took them 12 months to do a very thorough study of the over 5,000 videos, 5,000 photographs. They employed more than 50 staff on those files. And then after 12 months of evidence collection, investigation, analysis, they were able to actually pinpoint the killers. And these are only three incidents of 3 deaths. IPOA is investigating 60 deaths across the whole country, from Nairobi to Kisumu to Mombasa, everywhere. And they only have 77 investigators. Against a demand and approved staff establishment authority of investigators of 650. So even if we stop doing any other deaths investigations and we just focus on Gen Z, it will take a long time for them to finish. So please, even as you rate the IPOA's functions and the work they do, I will urge you to please understand the context under which they are working, to understand the challenges they are facing, the limitations they are having. But we can be assured, all of you and all Kenyans, that IPOA is here to ensure that we hold the police accountable, to ensure that there is professionalism and discipline among the service, and we respect the rights of the Kenyans. I thank you very much.